What John Wayne did when protesters burned the flag in front of him. The American flag is on fire, not in some distant city on the evening news, right here, right now, in the middle of Main Street, Malibu, California, July 4th, 1970, Independence Day parade, families with ice cream cones, veterans in wheelchairs wearing their old uniforms, children waving little flags on wooden sticks, and now those children are crying. A young man with long hair and torn jeans stands in the center of the street. He's holding what's left of the flag. The stars and stripes curl and blacken in his hands. Smoke rises into the bright California sky. His friends cheer. They're holding signs, "Bring our boys home," and "Hell no, we won't go." The crowd surges forward. Angry fathers, furious veterans. A World War II soldier in a wheelchair tries to stand up, falls back down, his face red with rage. Someone screams. Police officers rush toward the protesters, hands on their nightsticks. Then a voice cuts through the chaos. Wait! It's not loud, but everyone hears it. John Wayne steps out from the crowd. He's 63 years old, wearing jeans and a white shirt. No costume, no cowboy hat, just a man. But when he moves, people part like water. They know that walk. They've seen it 100 times on movie screens. Confident, steady, purposeful. He walks straight toward the young man holding the burned flag. The protester sees him coming. His name is Mark Fisher. He's 23 years old, and he's not backing down. Before we dive deeper into what happened next on that hot July afternoon, let me ask you something. Which state are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Let's see where Duke's biggest fans are calling home today. The parade started an hour earlier under a cloudless sky. It's the kind of California morning that feels like America itself. Clear, bright, full of promise. The temperature is already pushing 85 degrees at 10 in the morning. Malibu isn't a big town. This isn't the Rose Parade. It's just neighbors walking down Main Street together. A high school marching band, some vintage cars, local politicians waving from convertibles. John Wayne isn't supposed to be here. He's between films, recovering from his second bout with cancer. The lung surgery in 1964 took part of his left lung. He gets tired easily now, but his daughter Isa asked him to come. She's 10 years old, and she loves parades. So here he is, standing with the crowd, watching the band play Stars and Stripes Forever. Nobody's bothering him. A few people nod respectfully. One elderly woman asks for an autograph. He signs it with a smile. This is the America he loves. Small towns, families, the flag. Then the protesters arrive. There are maybe 15 of them, college kids mostly, long hair, bell-bottoms, peace symbols. They push their way into the parade route carrying signs and chanting, 1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want your racist war. Some people in the crowd yell back. Others just look confused. The band keeps playing, though the music wavers. Mark Fisher is at the front. He's the leader. Tall, thin, with hair down to his shoulders. He's a student at UCLA. Smart kid, philosophy major. He believes the Vietnam War is wrong. He believes America has lost its way. He believes someone needs to stand up and say it. So, he pulls an American flag from his backpack. He borrowed it from his parents' garage that morning. They don't know he took it. His father is a Korean War veteran. He doesn't care. His father's generation doesn't understand. They worship the flag like it's some kind of god. Mark is here to prove it's just cloth. He pulls out a Zippo lighter. Mark Fisher grew up in Pasadena in a house with a flag on the front porch. Every morning, his father raised it. Every evening, he lowered it, folded it into a perfect triangle, handed it to young Mark like it was made of glass. This is what men died for, his father would say. Treat it with respect. Mark respected it. For years, he did. He said the Pledge of Allegiance in school. He stood for the national anthem. He believed America was the greatest country on earth. Then he turned 18. Got his draft notice. The government wanted to send him to Vietnam to kill people he'd never met in a war nobody could explain. Mark applied for conscientious objector status. His father disowned him, called him a coward, told him to get out of the house. Mark moved to Los Angeles, fell in with anti-war groups, joined protests, got arrested twice. Each time, his anger grew. America wasn't great. America was a lie. The flag didn't represent freedom. It represented oppression, imperialism, death. So, when his friend suggested burning a flag at the July 4th parade, Mark didn't hesitate. He wanted people to see. He wanted them to understand. The flag wasn't sacred, it was a symbol. And symbols could be destroyed. His hands shake as he flicks the lighter. The flame catches, the flag starts to burn. The crowd gasps. He holds it up high so everyone can see. This is what America does to Vietnamese children. This is what your war looks like. A little girl starts crying. She's maybe 6 years old, wearing a red, white, and blue dress. She's holding a small flag in her hand, and she's looking at Mark's burning flag with pure terror on her face. Her mother pulls her close, turns her away. An old veteran in a wheelchair screams, "You son of a..." The police push forward. This is illegal. Desecration of the flag. They're going to arrest Mark and his friends, haul them away, book them on charges. But then John Wayne steps between them and Mark. Wayne moves slowly but deliberately. The crowd watches. They expect him to explode. They've seen him fight 1,000 times on screen. They know his temper. They know he loves this country more than anything. This should be the moment where the Duke teaches this hippie a lesson, where he grabs him by the collar but Wayne doesn't grab him. He stops 2 feet away from Mark Fisher, close enough to talk, far enough to breathe. Mark is still holding the burned flag. The fire is out now, just charred cloth and smoke. Mark's hand trembles, not from fear, from adrenaline, from rage. Wayne looks at him, just looks, doesn't say anything for a long moment. The whole street is silent. Even the protesters have stopped chanting. Even the band has paused. Then Wayne speaks. His voice is quiet, calm, almost gentle. "Son, you have the right to burn that flag." Mark blinks. He wasn't expecting that. Wayne continues, "Men died so you could do that. You understand? They died defending your right to hate the very thing they loved." "We don't hate freedom," Mark says defensively. "We hate the war." "Then protest the war. I'm not stopping you. But look around." Wayne gestures to the crowd, to the veterans. Some of them are in their 70s now, World War II soldiers, men who stormed beaches, who lost friends, who came home with medals and nightmares. They're standing there with tears in their eyes. Not from anger, from pain. "These men fought for that flag," Wayne says. "You don't have to love this country, that's your choice, but you owe them your respect." Mark's jaw tightens. "We don't owe them anything. They chose to fight in an unjust war. That's on them." Wayne shakes his head slowly. "You don't get it, do you?" "Get what?" "Without them, you wouldn't be free to hate them." The words land like a punch. Mark opens his mouth, closes it. He doesn't have a response. Wayne bends down slowly. His knees hurt. His back hurts. Everything hurts these days. But he bends down and picks up the burned flag from where Mark dropped it. The fabric is still warm. Pieces of ash fall away. He walks over to the veteran in the wheelchair. The old man is crying. Tears stream down his weathered face. He's maybe 75 years old. He landed on Normandy Beach on D-Day, lost 3 fingers on his right hand, came home to a country that mostly forgot about him. Wayne kneels beside the wheelchair, holds out the burned flag. "This still matters to some of us," Wayne says quietly. The veteran takes the flag, holds it against his chest. He can't speak. He just nods. Wayne stands up, looks back at Mark. "You want to change the world? Then change it. But don't dishonor the men who gave you the freedom to try." He turns and walks away. The crowd parts again. Wayne doesn't look back. He just keeps walking until he's out of sight. The police let the protesters go. No arrests. The parade continues. But nobody's paying attention to the band anymore. Everyone's talking about what they just saw. About John Wayne. About the flag. About respect.
The local newspaper runs the story the next day. John Wayne confronts flag burners, chooses words over fists. The article describes what happened. Some readers call Wayne a hero. Others call him weak. "He should have knocked that hippie out," one letter to the editor says. But Mark Fisher can't stop thinking about it. He goes home to his apartment, sits on his mattress on the floor, stares at the wall. He keeps seeing that old veteran's face, the tears, the way he held the burned flag like it was a child. Mark wants to feel justified. He burned the flag to make a point, to wake people up, to show them the truth about America. But all he can see is pain. He tells himself it doesn't matter. The old man is brainwashed. The whole country is brainwashed. They worship symbols instead of questioning the system. Mark is right. He knows he's right. But it can't shake John Wayne's words. Without them, you wouldn't be free to hate them. Mark doesn't burn any more flags. He stays involved in anti-war protests, but he changes his tactics. He focuses on the war, on policy, on bringing soldiers home. He stops targeting the flag, stops targeting veterans. Years pass. The war ends. Mark graduates, becomes a high school teacher, gets married, has a son, names him Daniel. He never talks about the flag-burning incident. He's ashamed of it now, though he won't admit it. He's buried it so deep that even his wife doesn't know. But here's what nobody knew back then, what Mark himself didn't understand until decades later. It's 2008, 38 years after that July 4th parade. Mark Fisher is 61 years old now, gray hair, glasses. He teaches social studies at a high school in Orange County. He still considers himself liberal, still opposes wars, but he's mellowed. He's not the angry kid he used to be. His son Daniel is 23, the same age Mark was when he burned the flag. Daniel comes home one afternoon in October. He's wearing a Marine Corps uniform, dress blues. He just graduated from boot camp at Camp Pendleton. Mark stares at his son, at the uniform, at the American flag patch on the shoulder. "You joined the military." Mark's voice is flat, shocked. "I did," Daniel says. "I'm proud of it, Dad." Mark sits down. He feels like the room is spinning. His son who he raised to question authority, to think critically, to reject blind nationalism. His son is a Marine. "Why?" Mark finally asks. Daniel sits across from him. "Because someone has to serve. Because freedom isn't free. Because I want to be part of something bigger than myself." Mark hears echoes. John Wayne's voice from 38 years ago. "Men died so you could do that." "I don't understand," Mark says. "I know you don't," Daniel says gently. "But you taught me to stand up for what I believe in. You taught me that actions matter more than words." "Well, Dad, this is my action." That night, Mark can't sleep. He goes to his garage, finds an old box of newspapers he saved from the 1970s, digs through them until he finds it. The article about John Wayne and the flag burning. He reads it again for the first time in decades. He sees himself in that article, young, angry, certain he was right about everything. And he sees John Wayne, patient, firm, trying to teach a lesson to someone too stubborn to learn. Mark sits on the garage floor and cries. The next morning, he tries to find John Wayne's family. He wants to apologize, wants to say he finally understands. But Wayne died in 1979, almost 30 years ago now. Mark is too late. So he writes a letter to the John Wayne Foundation. It takes him hours. He writes draft after draft. Finally, he sends this. "Mr. Wayne, I was wrong in 1970. You tried to teach me something that day in Malibu. I was too young and too angry to listen. But I heard you eventually. It took 38 years. It took my son joining the Marines. It took me becoming a father and understanding that protecting your children sometimes means standing between them and their own ignorance. You did that for me. You stood between me and my anger, and you showed me that respect and freedom go together. You can't have one without the other. I'm sorry I burned that flag in front of those veterans. I'm sorry I caused them pain. And I'm grateful that you taught me better, even though I didn't deserve the lesson. Thank you, Duke. I finally understand. Mark Fisher." The Wayne family received the letter. They're moved by it. They keep it in their archives. It becomes part of John Wayne's legacy. Not the movies, not the awards, but the quiet moment on a July 4th afternoon when a man chose words over violence. When he defended freedom by showing a young protester what freedom actually costs. Mark Fisher continued teaching for another 12 years before retiring. He never became a flag-waving patriot. He still questioned his government, still protested wars he thought were unjust, but he never disrespected a veteran again. He never burned another flag. He attended his son's graduation from Marine boot camp, stood when they played the national anthem, felt pride swell in his chest even though it made him uncomfortable. His son was serving, putting on a uniform, risking his life for something bigger than himself, just like the men John Wayne defended that day. Mark's son Daniel served 2 tours in Iraq, came home safe, got out of the military and became a firefighter. Mark was at every ceremony, every promotion, every honor, standing in the crowd with tears in his eyes. In 2015, a documentary filmmaker interviewed Mark about the 1970s anti-war movement. Mark told the flag-burning story, told them about John Wayne, told them what he learned. I thought I was fighting for freedom, but I was really fighting against the men who had already secured it. John Wayne showed me that you can protest a war without dishonoring the warriors. That was his gift to me. I just wish I'd been smart enough to accept it sooner. The interviewer asked, "Do you regret burning the flag?" Mark thought for a long moment. "Every day, because I hurt people who didn't deserve it. Those veterans in that parade had already given enough. They didn't need some punk kid like me throwing their sacrifice back in their faces. If I could go back, I'd still protest the war, but I'd do it differently. I'd do it the way Duke showed me, with respect." Today there's a small plaque in Malibu where that parade took place. It's not about John Wayne. It's not about Mark Fisher. It's about the veteran in the wheelchair. His name was Robert Chen. He died in 1989. The plaque reads, "SRG Robert Chen, D-Day survivor. He defended the freedom to disagree." Mark Fisher visits that plaque every July 4th, brings flowers, stands quietly for a few minutes. Then he goes home and raises an American flag on his front porch, the same flag his father used to raise when Mark was a boy. Because he finally understands what John Wayne tried to teach him. Freedom isn't free, and the men who pay the price deserve your respect. Even when you disagree with the war, even when you question the government, even when you protest the policy. You can disagree with your country, but you must honor those who served it. That's what it means to be American. That's what John Wayne knew. And that's what a 23-year-old protester finally learned 38 years too late. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. And I want to hear from you in the comments. What values did John Wayne represent that we need more of today? What lessons from his life speak to you? Share this with someone who remembers when respect meant something real. And stick around. We've got more stories about the Duke that'll remind you why heroes used to mean something real. They don't make men like John Wayne anymore. But his lessons, those are timeless.